Welcome, everyone. This is the Auburn School Committee meeting for August 23rd, 2023. All supporting materials for this meeting have been provided to the members of this body, and it's available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Please note that this meeting is being recorded by the Auburn Cable Television. Thank you. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Malpractice. Hey, welcome back, everyone.
The vision of the Auburn Public Schools is to educate and prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. Our commitment: we will create, maintain, and support an environment that fosters a sense of belonging for all students in our schools, respecting race, color, sex, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, homelessness, poverty, spoken language, and ability.
All right, thank you. Do we have any citizens' comments tonight? I don't see anyone. All right, we'll move on to special recognition.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So tonight I just wanted to take a moment to thank all the community members who participated in our Read Around the Town this summer. This program was organized by Julie Benoit, reading specialist at Packagug, and Don Finuccio, reading specialist at Bryn Mawr. They encourage students to visit a variety of town locations. The flyers in your packet where all of these events happened. They could hear a story, meet someone new, kind of see a new place in town. And I just wanted to say thank you to them because it was a really successful program. I had 5 little ones that came to see me at the very end. I think it's hard to compete with the fire department and the police department. The librarian. And so thanks to everyone who participated: Chief Coleman, Officer John O'Brien, Dr. Collins at the library, Jen Stanek had kids at PAC, Brooke Beverly at Bryn Mawr, and I had a small group of students come here. So it was just a really nice summertime event for folks to show up. So it was great. Thank you to them for doing that.
Yeah, what a great idea,
wonderful.
too. That was great. All right, I'll seek approval for the minutes from June 21st, 2023.
That motion or approval?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we don't have student reps yet.
Not yet.
We'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, Madam Chair, we're going to begin. Last spring, we approved the school committee meeting dates for this coming year. In reviewing the budget timeline with Mrs. Worsbicky, she and I agree that maybe a little tweak in this might be helpful, noting that we would eliminate the meeting on we would add a meeting to November 29th, eliminate a meeting on December 6th, add a meeting on December 13th, and eliminate December 20th, which now gets us very close to the winter break. So it just kind of paces out a little bit better with then when you all need to take your vote and we have time to meet with all the principals and do our thing. So I did check if there were any specific holidays or events that this change might interfere with. I didn't see any. I don't know if anyone has any that I maybe didn't see, but I look to ask you for your consideration for those changes.
Yeah, I would say maybe like some chorus concerts, but hopefully we can put our schedule in first and they can work around that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I did check that. I didn't see any, but I can do that.
any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll seek approval to, yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to eliminate December 6th, 2023 and December 20th, 2023 from the school committee meeting schedule and add meetings on November 29th, 2023 and December 13th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, that is a done deal.
Thank you.
Through the chair, we'll be getting our budget timeline up to you shortly.
That'll be at the next meeting.
I was gonna ask when it starts on here, but yeah, all right, I'll let you guys
And
get
up
your
to
ducks in a row.
our staff as well.
Start harassing
You have a
you.
lot of ducks swimming right now.
Yes. Okay. Move on to the, oh, sorry.
New business.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I proposed to you this evening, we had a very productive leadership team full-day meeting this July, and then met separately with secondary principals and elementary principals. And one of the issues that we discussed for a variety of reasons is student attendance. And as we know, student attendance has not been, it's been severely impacted by COVID in a lot of ways. And so in doing some research, seemingly the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education previously had said that chronic absenteeism was considered 9 absences or more. That has since changed to 18 absences, which seemed to us excessive. However, what we know, our habits as caregivers have changed as well. And I think a lot of people now keep students home more frequently than they did previously, right? There's a different thought process about when kids are sick. And honestly, that's not a bad thing, right? I remember the days with having a stomach bug go all the way through Bryn Mawr School. And now if kids stay home, that's probably a better thing for everyone. However, we know that kids need to be in school to learn. So we are proposing here that the allowable absences for the Auburn Public Schools would be 15. And I say allowable, I'm not sure that's the right word, because really what we're also doing in here is we're building in checkpoints in the mid of each trimester and at the end of every trimester, where we're going to be reviewing every student's attendance. We're going to be contacting families. We're going to be having guidance counselors reaching out. We may have the principals meeting with families. We may put some things into place to provide better supports to families so that they can get their kids to school more regularly. We're going to spend a lot more time digging into why are the kids not coming to school. Now, the student is sick, they're sick, right? We understand that, and some kids have rougher years than others. But we really need to make better connections with our families around kids who may be experiencing school refusal, right? Because they're having stress or anxiety related to coming to school. And this process, while we're increasing the number of absences, I think what we're doing on the back end to support kids and families to make sure that we're getting them to school when we can is going to help us. Because at the end of the day, DESE's still going to look at 18, right? But I think this allows us some reasonable standards. We talk now about kids who just need a day, right? They're having anxiety or stress or whatever it is. But we've got to tune into that a little bit better and pay attention. So that's really it's not that we're getting more lax or that we're going to say, oh, sure, it's fine now for you to be absent these additional days. It's really more about building in those supports and monitoring it in a better way and complying with DESE's suggested number of days out to some degree.
Yeah.
Well, DESE's suggestion is that the kids can miss up to 10% of the school year.
Correct.
And we're saying 8.3, so I still think we're definitely being a bit more rigid, which I think is smart.
Yeah. And I think, too, again, the supports that we're building in with how we're going to be reaching out to families is going to be really helpful.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? And I assume all these would be updated to reflect all the handbooks and everything?
The handbooks will.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the school improvement plans, but yes, the handbooks will be.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, wrong thing. All right. All right, can I get a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to revise the number of absences from 9 to 15 and to incorporate this requirement into a system for tracking absenteeism, notifying families, and working with families to improve student attendance.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda are the school improvement plans. As you see, our building principals are here this evening, and I appreciate them coming tonight. The school improvement plans are here for each of the schools. They are aligned to the strategic plan, and they are intended for implementation during this school year. I don't know if anyone had any questions. I found that they were very similar in a lot of ways and age-appropriate in others. But we welcome any questions you may have, and certainly the principals would be happy to answer any questions you might have for them.
Okay, I'll open it up for discussion. Comments? No?
Well, the chair. I'd just like to say thank you guys. You guys worked really hard to get these done, and I read over them all, and they're really.
Yeah, I agree with Brooke. It takes a lot of work and preparation, and It definitely looks great. I'm excited for the year ahead. I will say a special shout out to Mr. Desto with your examples of how you're going to your plans. So you get the gold star for tonight. But
I was reading like, ooh, measurable goals.
yeah, I'm like, it's gonna be a good year. I can't wait.
Great.
So yeah, but everything looks great. It's a lot of work. Really appreciate you guys going through all the trouble and the prep to get this year up and running.
Yeah, through the chair, I also starred the cultural festival in the town government. I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not kind of going to go back to middle school again.
Yeah.
I mean, I do every day, but Auburn Middle School.
Actually, I have one question for Dan over there. The high school, the ambassador program, it said it would be up and running by like 2025. So I assume that's not happening this year.
Oh, it's on the back, the second one down.
Yeah.
So, community partnerships, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It doesn't say 2025. It
yeah,
says
ongoing.
ongoing. Yeah.
It's the job shadowing that's,
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Not in here.
So that is,
Shadowing. It's something that we'd like to be able to get off the ground fully in 2025.
okay. So the ambassador program is going on. Okay, great. That was off. All right. Awesome. Okay. So with no more discussion, I will seek a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2023-2024 school improvement plans for each school as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next set of material in your packet are the handbook updates for each of the schools. As requested last spring, the principals provided a more comprehensive explanation of any significant handbook changes, showing the differences from last iteration. So I don't know if you have any questions. There will be some adjustments related to the attendance vote that was just taken, so that will take place. As well as you'll see, there was some updating related to discipline. So as you know, we went through some work around restorative practices, and we're really trying to take a better look at what is our school climate so that it discourages negative behavior? What kind of relationships are we building with kids so it discourages negative behavior? However, when things do happen, how are we approaching it in more of a learning way, right? How are we teaching kids through their mistakes how to do better the next time? And so I do think the principals did a very nice job kind of framing that. But at the end of the day, we still have to, sometimes consequences are warranted, and we want to kind of make sure that we're clear about that. So I don't know if anyone has any specific questions about any of the handbook updates. And again, the principals are here, and I'm willing to answer anything you might have.
Through the chair, I have a question for Brooke and Jen. Under page 15, attendance, where it says attendance letters will be sent home each trimester to alert families of accumulated absences, is that going to every family, or is it just the families that have a certain amount of absences?
That would be what you would just.
Can you come up to the microphone?
I'm sorry?
Can you come up to,
I think it's just.
yeah, just come up, because the people at home aren't going to be able to hear you if you stay where you are.
So we're going to add the attendance policy and the numbers that you had just voted on. So we'll be adding that in. It will be the families that have those accumulated numbers that we just.
I was going to say that's a lot of work to send every single, I just didn't want you guys to do too much, like.
Oh, no. And then on report
Here comes
cards.
3 absences, like, okay.
No, just what you just voted on as policy. And then, of course, on each report card, it comes out
Yeah,
on those as well.
perfect, okay, good.
All right, stay where you are. Anyone else?
Stay where.
Through the chair, I guess my only concern on the K to 5 is I'm a little concerned about getting rid of step-up day within the policy and within the handbook as of right now, until we have a more solidified plan to ensure.
Sorry, put a pause on that. I just wanted to ask them a question before. I didn't know we were going to jump to this. So, well, one thing, excellent improvements. The wording was great, like much more detailed and easy to follow.
Thank you.
And there was something in here about the clothing policy, and if a student isn't dressed appropriately, we will supply clothes. Do we have clothes available? And
Typically, the nurse will have extra clothing.
you.
So they did have, the previous one did talk about like profanity and those types of things. Very often, we do not see that.
Yeah.
So that if it was inappropriate, then the nurse would typically have something. We do encourage families to have an extra change of clothes for their students as well. But typically, our nurses have a supply of clothes.
all right, if they ever run low, I know where there's a clothing closet at AYFS, and it's overflowing, so I can certainly help you out there.
And at times, we do put out from our nurses to ask for donations, things that the children grow out of, send them because we probably have those. But we always check on that, so thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten emails from Carrie saying, if you guys have any extra clothes, like,
Right.
I've gotten those emails.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay. All right.
I'm all set with that.
All set? Good. Okay. Thank you.
Do you want me to address your concern?
Yes, so I think really K to 5, so all the way through,
Meg.
you know, step up day. I've heard from a lot of parents, they really liked having a step up day where they can actually see the classroom they're going to be in and the teachers. Even when my son had a mystery teacher, it was like really cool because, hey, I have a mystery teacher. But, and I understand the difficulty with a step-up day from an administrative and a teaching perspective. So I'm wondering if we could use this year to gather more data, what parents like, what teachers like, as well as potentially,
Like union issues. too.
yeah. And then from there, go forward with maybe having them meet the student within the first 2 days, like those PD days, where they come
Sure.
in.
And that's a similar plan to what we have right now, but we definitely agree that kind of getting the input from all of the stakeholders is important.
And this particular year, in June, the children did not. We had changed that, and there wasn't, so it was more kind of a shift.
teachers.
Yeah, it was kind of a shift in thought. So the step up, everybody thinks they're going to that exact classroom, that exact teacher. And we did change that this year where they met the whole grade level and they got to see all of the classrooms because there are changes that have to happen and there's a lot that goes into that. So it's more of just taking that step up word, but our transition plans, we're always looking to improve and we believe that this will be an improvement for everyone, students, families and staff, and shifting that more towards the beginning of the school year where they'll remember those things.
Yeah.
Because
And I
children
think-
don't remember those things
Not
10
always.
minutes
Yeah.
behind. So
Yeah, especially our little kiddos. I think, and I think that's a great idea going forward. I just really want to have a plan in place to ensure that that's occurring from K to 5, that all children have that ability to see their teacher before we take that terminology out, is my recommendation.
And I think that that's something that's unique to Auburn. Like, I have friends all over the country, and they'll be like, you know your kid's teacher already? I'm like, yes. They also have met their teacher. I think that's really unique, especially at I consider elementary like 5 down. So I think that that's real unique for us. I think we need to stick with that.
So would it be a reasonable kind of middle of the ground if it was step-up day / transition planning? So we incorporate both for this year, and I agree that we could put out some surveys that actually goes along with some of the things in the strategic plan, that we need to survey families more frequently about how they're feeling about a variety of things, as we did this past year related to the change in the calendar and those kind of things. And this is no different. So I think we could go along because there were other things like second grade went up twice to third grade this year, which before it used to just be step-up day. Right, so now there were 2 visits this year. So we're always looking at ways to improve that for kids so that there's a greater familiarity.
Yeah, and I think definitely even if halfway through the year we can figure out a way to make sure that in those 2, that day before school or whatever, because of course my concern is always the working parents who can't get their kids there, but I think those 2 days before, kids aren't in camps anymore because there aren't any running, so there's someone who could bring them during those days. Then we can definitely, even for this spring, as long as, you know, they're getting their teacher and their report card, transfer over, as long as we have a solid plan. So first day of school isn't the first time they're seeing their teacher. I'd be fine with that.
I have a question. What did we do this year? What was that called?
Well, it's different for
I call it
kindergarten.
getting to know the next grade level.
Yeah, I think we called it, yes.
Like, it was like an orientation thing, so it wasn't what they're talking about, the step-up day. It was just,
What people consider, and the reason we were taking that step up because it's
Okay.
changing from what people are used to. So
Okay.
it was more getting to know first grade, getting to know second grade, and so forth, all the way up to fifth grade. And
Yeah.
which looks a little differently because we
Yeah.
have smaller buildings.
And we're
as well.
combining.
So in the past, like
Okay.
my daughter, when she went up from kindergarten to first grade, she had a step up day. She went and like sat in her first grade classroom
Okay.
and met her teacher. And so what they did this year is like Freya, when she stepped up from fourth to fifth, met like all the second grade teachers.
right.
Fifth grade, sorry. Yeah. Thank you. We're not going backwards. So she met all of them.
Okay.
So, and like my younger one did the same thing, but she already knew who her teacher is really well because of aftercare. So I
Right.
think it's so dependent on like the kid and the family. You know, like my older daughter, I think would have benefited from being in her classroom with her teacher, whereas my younger kid is like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, and I've talked about this before, is that how that used to work like that. Well, in theory, it seems like it's great. And you know what? It doesn't matter if it's a lot of work, because if it's good for kids, we're going to do a lot of work, and that's okay. But it's not a calming experience for most of them, right? Because they're in their classroom with their friends who they're finishing the year with, and the year is almost done. And it's like, okay, now go to this new class, and here's this new teacher. And while maybe some kids benefit, and I believe that they do, I think they're just as many kids that's like a stressful experience. Because now all of a sudden for 20 minutes or a half hour, I'm with a bunch of new kids and a new teacher that I don't know. And now I'm back to my other kids. And honestly, the kids at that point of year, I believe, are thinking summer vacation. They're not thinking, we're thinking about next year. They're not thinking about next year. However, as we get closer to the school year, then the anxiety ramps up. And yes, then do they need to have that opportunity to get in there?
Beneficial for them to know like how to get to their classroom in the morning.
Absolutely.
And, like,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know, the only thing I can speak to is like my own experience. I know that like tomorrow my school is opening up and some teachers may be in the building, but most won't. And they could just get to walk around. They don't get to necessarily meet their teacher, but they get to see the classroom. And for some kids, that's anxiety relieving enough. But I do think it's important that we kind of stick with that because that's what makes us unique as a district.
Yeah, I think we just need to change maybe the timing of it.
Yeah.
And maybe do it after the summer and something.
So
I agree.
Roland
Leave it
is
to you
going,
guys to figure
my
it
son is in kindergarten, so we did this orientation thing. So the kids went and met everybody, and they went off and they did some kind of activity in a classroom. And then the parents came in and said, hey, this is what we need to know. This is what you need to do. Here's a letter. Make sure you hand this in, right? But it was very, very quick. It was maybe 20 minutes, you know, and we could, it's like we had a quick powwow. If you have any questions, here's my contact information. Here's our reading specialist. Like, we got to know everybody, like from me. And then Roland's like, did you see all my friends, Mom? Like, so he got to see, I'm like, well, I don't know if they're all going to be, you know what, we're going to worry about that later. But he actually liked that because it was quick. But he's also never done school. Like, preschool and kindergarten, let's be honest, it's not close. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the idea is there, but it's not
Yeah.
like, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And
I
I
will
liked that it was quick and you could pick your time.
Yeah, and I will say, we are committed to supporting kids through their transitions.
Yeah.
That change in wording isn't saying that we don't think it's important for kids to have those opportunities.
Yeah.
But things do change, and how we do things change, but
But you could pick any time you wanted. So if you had morning, you could do morning. If you needed a late afternoon, they made it accommodating for anybody. Small little packs, you know.
yeah.
I enjoyed that, so I like that. More of that.
And that we intend to continue, you know, our spring into kindergarten is.
I still remember your PowerPoint, Jen. I think I'm scarred.
Yeah.
And
So
then,
mortified.
At Bryn Mawr and PAC, this week, we just bring in the families.
Yeah.
Right.
Just the adults, and we ask them not to bring the children, so they can, again, we're doing all the incoming kindergarten and any new registrations to join us, either online or in person, depending on what's going on in the building and the work, to give them that information, to know, okay, this is how you're dropping off, this is what you're doing. And then we feel that really work to tweak those transitions, and we make extras for those children that are extra anxious. We do extra visits to Swanson Road. Our school counselors do those with those and have reached out to the families to say, I think we know our students well, and make sure that they get that extra, that treatment. And it was awesome the way that they did the stations this year in the Get to Know First Grade. They got to go do an activity with each of the teachers.
Nice.
So it wasn't, and it wasn't
like that.
hurried, and step up day at the very end, it's very hurried and it is anxiety provoking. Yes, it does benefit some. And to be quite honest, there are always going to be students and families that we feel need to know the teacher before they leave. And we do that. But there are a lot of movements that have to happen as well.
So you say there's a lot of movement, so are we not planning on telling the kids on the last day of school who their teacher is?
That was a conversation we had this year. But I think taking the relief off not having to, because there are some changes sometimes that have to happen over the course of the summer. There are some changes. But I think that's more of a conversation. We're not talking about getting rid of that. That was a conversation this past year.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think from a school committee standpoint, we have to trust them and let them figure out what's going to work. I mean, we're not getting rid of the transitions, which is good.
Absolutely.
So
We need transitions.
wording might change, timing might change. Leave it to the experts to,
Be totally fine with that as long as we can ensure that before the first day of school, every elementary school child meets their teacher at some point.
And as elected officials, I really feel it's important that we ask the parents and the stakeholders in it, because
no
if we don't ask them, then there's been a little buzz about, is there something going on at this school? And of course, I'm just like, I want to be, please email the principal, but I want the parents to know that that we're listening to them as well.
I completely agree.
You had mentioned a survey and everything, so.
Yep.
Through the chair, I just want to say that I agree that there needs to be some sort of transition plan for the kids, but I also see your point is at the end, and when May and June come, there are teachers who leave or may get sick or things like that. And now what anxiety are we putting on these kids now that their teacher has changed? So there are a lot of factors that come into play. So I understand. But I do think that as long as there's some sort of transition plan and they're getting to know everyone, I think that's important. Any more questions, or are you all set?
Can we add that into the motion to accept the handbooks as written with the understanding that, I don't know, prior to.
More information to come.
Yeah, like with surveys and prior to the first day of school? Can we add that into the motion somehow? Is that a way to do that?
Yeah,
Their
that's fine.
step-up transition day will continue.
Well, I'm okay
to
with
be
it being
determined.
before school, as long as it happens and they find out before the end of school. I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that, one of the two happens.
So do we add it to the motion or?
So like,
Not sure.
So what if we revisit this once we conduct the survey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Conduct surveys or revisit.
Why don't we do that? Let's get the information from the survey. That's going to be really good data to inform. We can add it to the motion. I think there are a lot of people that have to be involved in the conversation to make sure that that works. So let's table this now. Let's look at this again in November, right? I probably wouldn't do the survey until a couple weeks into school.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the survey results. So maybe end of October, early November, we can revisit the results and then we can make some decisions about that.
Yeah, and at K-2, too, I think they are meeting their teachers in classrooms, so we'll have some pretty good data on
Exactly,
that. So
exactly.
Awesome. Okay.
And some specific questions related
What way do you
to
like
that.
better? Yeah, that'd be
yeah.
great.
so maybe we say, accept it with the exception of transition language.
Well, we're going to do the transitions. I think we have to accept this as is with the understanding that survey data related to transitions from K to 5 will be revisited in October and November.
Perfect. That works for me.
Did you get that, Mandy?
That work for you,
Because I
Mandy?
can't repeat it.
With understanding that survey data.
I'm good at the first run of it.
I have just one question for, I think it's technically I think it's both Auburn High School and Auburn Middle School.
Are we set with elementary?
Yeah, hold on one second. Sorry, let's not jump around too much. Let's get that motion figured out first, and then. All right, Mandy. Right now, hang on.
I got with understanding that survey data will inform
Transition program.
Transition
plan.
transition plan.
That sound
With
good?
the understanding that surveys will be conducted.
Survey data will
Inform.
be
Be
revisited in October/November
I'm going to say November because we got more time.
to inform
We get an extra day now.
No, you're right. Yeah.
2024 transition planning.
First.
We got it.
I got it.
Good job.
Okay. Who
Thank
wants
you,
to make
sorry.
that? You want to? Did you get that all?
She got it all, yeah.
All right, Sam, go for it.
But are we doing this?
I think it's all one.
It's all one together.
Yes.
All one together.
Yeah.
All one
I
together.
still have a question for Auburn High School and Auburn Middle School.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, geez, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. I am so off my game tonight. It's ridiculous. All right.
I have one question.
Thank you.
Actually,
Thank you. That will be
Dr.
all.
Lopez, I'm not done with you yet. Hold on.
Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry. I just had a question. Do we have anything in there about drop-offs and the walker problem where parents were just kind of pulling up in the street and letting their kid out?
The kids out of the
and they
cars.
were running.
I think that was fixed last year.
Was it fixed?
I don't know if it was
My
actually
kids don't go
fixed,
there
but I think-
anymore, so I wasn't
terms
sure.
of putting it in the handbook, something with regards
Yeah,
to
or
drop-off?
something concrete that we can say.
not on
It's
Swanson
written
Road.
down.
Yeah, do not drop
So
your
do
child.
not.
You sent that out? I thought
was
that
gonna
was
say,
in
it
something.
is part of it, but it doesn't say the negative part, like you cannot, for safety reasons, drop off on Swanson Road. It gives specific language to come into Swanson grounds and how the pickup and drop off occur.
Okay.
I could look into seeing if there's something specific I could add,
Yeah,
adds to the.
I think it wouldn't hurt.
Because that was a whole separate communication related to that
And
process.
not everyone reads the communications, so, I mean, I think if we have something that is, you know.
Yeah, you can just say it's in
it's in the handbook, and it is a rule and a policy, and if we need to make a policy about that, I don't know, maybe someday, but.
Okay,
Yeah, just, all right.
that's not a problem.
And, okay, anyone else for Dr. Lopez?
No.
All right, awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions concerning the middle school updates?
So I have a question, and this goes for middle high school, but first of all, I want to say that I loved the behavior matrix. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. Yes.
It's so easy to read. I'm like, well, why can't every school do this? But my one concern is when it says disrespect of / inappropriate language towards student or staff, non-aggressive and aggressive. It cuts off at short-term out-of-school suspension. And I'm just curious the reasoning for that, because, is there a line if a student threatens to kill, maim, harm a teacher? Are we losing the trust of the staff member who now has to walk in and still teach that student? Is that something that maybe we should consider, for certain students, it might be a long-term suspension? I hate to cut it off at short-term.
Well, threats are further down those.
Sure. Yeah, threats are further down, but they're kind of the same thing.
Your question was about
The disrespect of and
disrespect
inappropriate language.
/ inappropriate language. So there's a separate section for threatening, which would be like if what we're thinking of under this category here is more like, I mean, as it plays out in real life, is like somebody being just disrespectful and not following directions would be the lighter part of it. The other part could be like losing their temper and swearing at the teacher, but not in a threatening way. Maybe calling names and things like that, bad names. But and by law, we can't suspend long term for that, but we can for threatening.
Okay.
So that's later on in the matrix.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that part.
Greg,
so-
can you do me a favor? Can you click on that? Say, okay, use the mouse there. Sorry. And just close Zoom. We didn't have anybody on Zoom either. Just X up in the right corner. Okay.
I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to make sure because I didn't see that, and when I was looking through it, I didn't see the threat to school community, so I didn't see that. So I'm happy that that's there. I just want to make sure that the staff feel that they have some kind of control. I know that sometimes if a student comes at a staff member, they feel unsafe. If it's not in here, then we have no action behind it, so.
I think that would be under threatening, though.
Yeah.
Well,
You never know.
All right, I have a question for Mr. Desto. There was nothing specific about the cell phone policy. Caitlin would like to know what the status is.
Good call. My daughter will probably want to know too.
We haven't had a student behavior committee that started with, met, sporadically throughout the year and carried over into the summer, supported by the district administration. And the reason that we held off until really just 2 weeks ago to make a final decision on it is because it was really the hot button issue that we were debating. So a message went out today to families. I think it went out at 4:00, which includes in there what our cell phone policy is going to be for this year.
Okay.
Okay. And so just for the record, it will be turned off in the backpack, never to be used or seen during the day. And if there are violations, like if a student abuses it violates that, then we'll work individually to create a plan for that kid, where that kid cannot either bring his phone to school or has to keep it in we call it the cell phone dungeon, in the assistant principal's office, because we agreed at the end that we don't need to punish every kid and every family for a problem that really only is like 20 kids out of 600. So
Yeah.
we're going to deal with those that way, and
Is that a change to last year?
not really.
No, I didn't think so. That's basically
and our
what it's
kids,
been.
by and large, did a great job last year. I was really proud of the students for doing a really amazing job. Cell phone issues in the classroom, almost not at all. Now, hallway, that kind of thing, as the year went along, they started to become a little bit more of an issue. But really I'm proud of the kids for how they handled it, because they really do, when they know that thing is nearby, they really want to go for it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
What about smartwatches?
that's a thing we talked about, and honestly, I just don't know the answer to that right now, not yet. But I think that's going to be the next thing coming. I'm not ready at this point to say kids can't have those, and I do realize that that's the end around for some kids. But I think that for right now, we're going to kind of go with like a results-driven approach. If there's not a problem, nothing's disrupting the class, the student's doing what he's supposed to be doing, then if that doesn't happen, we'll address it later on an individual basis.
Is that the same policy for high school or no? The cell phones, yeah. I got one in high school too, so I'm just curious.
It's better this way. Hopefully you guys can hear me. So very much the same, except instead of in a backpack, we have caddies in each of the classrooms.
Okay.
So when the students come into the classroom, the phone's going to go into the caddy. And something that will be a little bit new is that phone stays in that classroom for the entirety of the period. And when the kids are done with their classroom, they can go, if they're number 28 on the caddy, because they're all numbered, they can pick up their phone. And I guess times that they could possibly use their phone might be in passing time, which is only 3-4 minutes, and then at lunchtime.
Okay.
So, and then, and again, at some points in time during activity block.
Gotcha.
But that'd be the only times during the day.
Okay.
So.
Through the chair, I like that kind of gradual approach. Like middle school, they don't have access, and by high school, because by college, maybe they'll know how to use it a little bit more appropriately.
We hope.
We hope.
Maybe.
We do have some, I'm not going to remember the name of the program, but some programming at the high school that kids are going to be able to experience during activity block. And some of what they do is they give them hints on how to track their actual time on like screen time. Because what they said is when kids actually realize how much time their face is on that phone, even the kids want to change, because it really is not, it's not healthy for them. So
My kids get an update on their phone every week, and it shows exactly their screen time. I get it too.
iPhones have that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that feature.
Love it.
Love it.
It's great.
It's shocking, though, isn't it?
it is shocking.
You see as an adult.
I was shocked to see how much time I was on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, the only problem is when your kids are all linked to your phone. So it's like, you've been on the iPad 25 hours, and you're like, no, I haven't. So that's a little scary. You're like,
And it is that fine line, right? So
Yeah.
like what Megan was saying, we want to teach these kids that, because when they get to college, there's no cell phone caddy in the college classroom. There's no cell phone caddy at Dunkin' Donuts. At least I don't believe
Yeah.
so. I haven't worked at Dunkin' Donuts, but so we'd want them to be able to properly manage their phone and put it away during those productive time
Yeah.
periods.
And it's so hard to determine because, I mean, the world is changing, right?
Yes.
Everything is technology. So just trying to figure out where that fine line is, and
It's all going to be AI soon. They're going to have to do the survey on their phone to hit the question, you know.
yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Crazy.
I do have one question for Dan, and I guess Desto too, but I'm not really the middle school I would think wouldn't have this problem as much, but I've heard in the past cell phone videoing, and I know I saw something in, first offense and, the discipline actions, but I just want to make sure there's something out there that says, like, it is criminal, it is wrong, like these kids
Yes.
know.
Yeah, and we do take it very, very seriously. And it's part of so we meet with all of the classes one by one over the first 2 days of school that we have the kids. So on Wednesday and Thursday next week, we'll meet with them and we'll spend specific time around all those tough rule areas. But phones shouldn't be, if the phones are in the classroom holder, then when the student has to use the restroom, then there's nobody videotaping something behind closed doors. And when we've had evidence and we've had to investigate situations, then we've just taken it step by step and case by case. But we do take it very seriously. Nobody should be videotaped unless they give authorization. But videotaping shouldn't happen during a school day anyways.
Right.
So, but we live in a world, as you guys are saying, that our teenagers chronicle everything that they do. So they don't even think anything different of it.
I know.
And it's unfortunate, really. So
Yeah.
we do a little bit of work with that.
And I think that's my concern. Like, my daughter's summer is on TikTok right now, like the entire thing, start to finish.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to go into a classroom and now they have no phone. They have to be reminded, like,
Yeah.
it's not going to happen in school, so.
So, go. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. This actually, may I ask a question? And it's not so much to do with the handbook as it does with AI and reports now, with kids writing reports. And then you can go on with the AI and they like literally
Make pictures, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how we track that.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any better method of intervention than the relationship between the student and the teacher, first and foremost, right? I sound like Dr. Chamberlain, but that is, if there's, but there's never.
That is a compliment.
Absolutely. So our English teachers think about how many hours.
Yeah.
In one trimester, it's 60 hours of time. You start to learn how Dan DeLongchamp writes. You start to see. So I mean, again, I don't have it. I've been through some little workshops with AI, so I'm familiar with it. But I don't think there's any way that something automated can exactly sound like how I write.
Yeah.
And so our teachers are, I'm not going to say it's a regular thing, but it's something that's common.
Yeah.
Because procrastination, last minute, whatever. So we really depend on the teacher and the work and a lot of conversations with kids and families about that.
Yeah.
Our English department does a really good, I mean, it could happen in any department, but our English department does a really nice job with it.
An interesting lesson that I saw on ChatGPT was that the teachers had the students use ChatGPT and say, let's type in what you want your essay to be about and let's make it better and show how you can improve it or where there might be problems with it. And it was really interesting lesson that I saw, and I thought it was really a unique way to teach kids that, like, sometimes technology is good and other times even it's not perfect. But the thing with AI too is it can create pictures now where it looks like the person, and that's really scary.
Yeah.
It talks.
Sorry.
Freaky.
Sorry.
No,
Christy, I
that's
was just-
fine.
We
And
were on
you
it
know
and
what?
I
It's
wanted
another
to ask.
burden for our teachers, unfortunately. So.
Good luck.
Chair, I had to add it to our plagiarism policy at my job because we found that it wasn't like legal. Like if we found out they used ChatGPT, which writes a whole paper for you, we couldn't say they were plagiarizing because it wasn't specifically written. So that might be something. That just happened in the spring. So we
It does
did
get
edit
complicated because at one
So
time you could go type in what somebody was writing, right? And-
Yeah, and it would pop up.
And it would pop up.
You can still do it.
Yeah.
Not with ChatGPT.
Not with ChatGPT, but my middle schoolers are not always that smart, and they'll just copy and paste. So I'll be like, you copy this directly from this website. How do you know? Not hard. So,
Okay.
but we banned it, and they banned chat. You cannot access ChatGPT from any school computer.
Okay, so good luck with that.
Thank you.
You got this.
Sorry again.
All right, any more questions or comments for these two? Okay.
Just one comment.
Of course.
Dan and I were talking about this before the meeting, that we just wanted to, if we had an opportunity publicly, to thank Jessica Pizzolidis, Matt Carlson, and Melissa LeBaume, because it was they who came up with with the matrix idea and filled it in. They did a great job with it, so I wanted to mention that.
Chair, are you putting it up, like, on like a bigger piece of paper for the kids to see, or no? Just leaving it?
Because, the handbooks are great reading.
Yeah, I'm sure every sophomore is reading that every day.
Do a slide presentation because
Oh,
it's a
okay.
very good format for us.
Yeah.
And so the kids won't, those kids who actually read it, this will be the first time they see something like this.
Yeah.
So we'll show them that way.
Awesome.
We'll present it to them, but it won't be posted in the building.
No.
We've got some other things that we'll post about expectations, but not specifically this.
Oh, cool.
Mine will be on the fridge, so. Look at these checks. You don't want to check. So, all right. No, great ideas.
Definitely.
Thank
Thumbs
you.
up to them.
Yeah,
They did a great job.
yeah.
All right, thank you all. Do you want to make a motion? Sure. Okay, we ready to make this motion?
Did we kind of already make it?
I have
Do we
it,
just
yeah.
have the second one now?
Well, she did read it once,
Yeah. Mandy had.
and we had more questions.
All right, what do we want to do?
I'll just make the motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the 2023-2024 student handbook updates for each school as presented, with the understanding that survey data will be revisited in October. Survey data will be revisited in October, November to inform the 2024 transition planning. K to 5.
second.
K to 5.
Love that. And I will second that. I love that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, can you do me a favor, Sam, and text that or email it to Mandy so she has the, unless you got all
Yeah.
that. You got that? Okay.
Oh, she's the,
Check you with my first one.
Awesome. Okay, well, we are ready to move on.
Madam Chair, can I request we go out of order a little bit and move on to the kindergarten screening item, and then I can let these,
Yes,
all these
absolutely.
principals leave tonight? So last thing, so prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, kindergarten screening for students took place in the spring at Packagug and Bryn Mawr and allowed families to come to the school. We fully completed the dial, which is the screening tool that we use. They got to do a little scavenger hunt in the school. And it really let teachers spend a good amount of time with students because each screening really took 45 minutes at 3 separate stations. But to do that, our current kindergarten kids had to have the day off so that we had our classrooms to do the screening in and the staff to do the screening. So it's the request of the administrators and the teachers at the primary level to return to this process, and they're asking for your approval to not have our current kindergarten students attend school on April 26, 2024, to allow this screening to take place. So that would be a modification to our calendar, but we also feel we're giving them enough lead time for that one day for the students to have that day off.
I'll make a motion to identify Friday, April 26th as kindergarten screening day for kindergarten students who will join us in the 2024-2025 school year. Our current kindergarten students will not attend school on that day.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Amen. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, folks. Thank you. You are free to go.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you guys wanted to stay.
Good job, everyone. Very nice. Nice job.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
All right, so back to multi-hazard plans. I just want to report out to you that as per Chapter 159 of the Acts of 2000, Sections 363, the full text is there for your review. Chief Coleman, Chief Lemon, and I, along with the members of the district safety team, have reviewed each school's multi-hazard plan and the district multi-hazard plan and have signed off in support. I cannot thank enough. So when I talk to other superintendents, I am so thankful with the collaboration we have with our 2 chiefs, with our district safety team, with town administration, with the building inspector. It's amazing how supportive they are and how thoughtful they are about giving us feedback and having conversations about what we feel could make our schools more safe. So just a big thank you to them. So that's really just for information. We don't share the multi-hazard plans publicly. For a variety of reasons, all related to safety as well. But the specific information that teachers need to know in each building will be shared and discussed with them on that one of those first 2 days so that they're aware of what they need to be doing. But again, we are very, very lucky to have the folks that we have in those positions to help us with that.
Awesome, yeah, and overall, we're in good shape, right? Like, they
We are in
looked at our
excellent
buildings,
shape.
we're safe, and
So yesterday and today, fire department's been touring each building with Joe, as they do every year. They literally go into every classroom. They look under desks behind behind things for extension cords or anything like that that could pose a problem. And they've already, I think they have one more, they might have the high school yet to do, but so far so good. We're in very good shape, so. But, you know, we do it all the time too with them, so.
I think, go ahead.
Through the chair, like, is there, because we've had an uptick in like tornadoes in this area, is there a spot in every building where kids can go in case of a
That's part of the
tornado?
multi-hazard plan, is dangerous weather.
Great, okay.
Yeah, and actually today we did, yesterday we did some training with our secretaries around how to handle the phishing calls that you know that a lot of districts got last year. And so we have a way that we can collaborate with the police department around those in real time, which I think is going to relieve the secretaries a bit from ever having to receive something like that, as well as get the call recorded. So, yeah, so a lot of good things happening.
Awesome.
Through the chair, I just want to say that I think that we have an excellent team. Chief Coleman, Chief Lemon, you, Officer O'Brien, everyone that it's amazing to see how much care is taken into making sure our students, our staff, our teachers, our administration are safe.
And I did send out, I should have included it here, but I did send out to families already about Officer McCarthy. Did you see?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so we will have a second SRO.
Awesome.
So he'll be responsible for PAC in the middle school with John taking the high school, Swiss and Bryn Mawr. And I say that, I met with John today and he goes, now you know, there might be some overlap. I'm like, I know, John. I thought there might be some overlap.
The
But
kids love seeing them.
no, it's going to be a great addition. It really is. And then, you know, because they have trainings or things, or, you know, sometimes they have to go to court for other situations. And so it'll be nice that we'll still have somebody in the district, even though Officer Lombardi, I have to give him a shout out, because he doesn't feel like he's gotten enough recognition, because he has stepped in as backup when we've needed someone. So he's been great too. So just an awesome team. Awesome team.
Great. We're very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
All right, the next one in your packet, you're going to find my goals for the 2023-2024 school year. These were initially presented to you back in the spring to gather input. The goals reflect the feedback from you and align with the strategic plan. I will say, so the student learning goal really focuses on building a better data analysis cycle, not only here at central office, but in each of the buildings, and that there's a sharing out process across the district, so that I might be a sixth grade teacher, but I know that maybe third grade students, you know, did outstanding in the ELA this year, or whatever it might be, that we begin to have that, and we incorporate universal design for learning and what we're looking at and what our teachers are teaching. So that was something we talked about back in the spring. My professional practice goal, it'll be year 2 of the new superintendent induction program, which I will tell you, my coach is terrific. I talk to her still all the time. Just a great sounding board, and it's really been a great program for me to be in. So I will complete year 2 of that. The first district improvement goal, and this wasn't specifically delineated when we spoke back in the spring, but this ties to the READY work, which is racial equity, diversity, and inclusion work that the state is doing, that the leadership team will devote 40% of its meeting time this year to deepening our knowledge of unconscious bias, racial identity development, and the 4 I's of racism, being ideological, internalized, institutional, and interpersonal, and how they may be impacting our kids. So what we've really tried to do the full day that we had together as a leadership team, we did a lot of just deep discussion about what do we see, what do we think, what do we hear, how do we feel about this work, and we have to continue to have those conversations because we're all learning, you know, and so this will make sure that that becomes an integral part of what we do on a regular basis. The next one, district improvement goal 2, is around updating our onboarding and some personnel processes. So that was, I had talked about the last time. And goal 3 is about providing regular updates on the strategic plan. So I'm building that into my, the newsletter that I've been using. So it'll kind of become a standing item with some updates in there. So I think that'll be a good thing too. And then the last one is that facilities committee, which I woefully did not do this past year. I kind of think the timing may be better now, given that seemingly the whole public safety complex isn't going to happen. There may be some things happening there. It's going to be a good time to take a look at that. So more to come on that as well. But that was part of what I had shared with you in the spring also. So the only big change is that piece with the leadership team.
All right, and you are seeking an action on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can I get, well, any questions or comments first?
No, I knew about most of it.
All right, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to accept the superintendent's goals for the 2023-2024 school year as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
We did kindergarten screening.
We did kindergarten screening, so we'll go on to substitute pay rates. So you'll, in your packet, you're going to find updated rates for substitutes for the Auburn Public Schools. We did update these rates last year. However, in my superintendent's group, I'm finding that other districts are upping their rates a little bit, and I am fearful that we will lose folks to other districts. And so the day-to-day, the proposed changes to 120, day-to-day certified would stay at 120, district teacher to 125. We did change a long-term sub. That used to be just, it used to say long-term sub from day 1 to day 29, which I don't know why it said that, because then I'm thinking if somebody's in for a couple of weeks, they could be just a day-to-day for a couple of weeks. So it would have to be 11 days or more to get $130. And then the other ones, the 150, the 155, that went up a little bit. Anyone over 90 days, 91, or more days will stay at bachelor's step 1 because that rate gets adjusted as the contract gets adjusted. And then this was the big thing that really kind of precipitated this as well. We did have lots of questions last year that our instructional assistants and ABA subs weren't even making minimum wage. And so this shift to these amounts gets the instructional assistants to $15.38 and the ABAs to $15.71. So none of these are huge, remarkable changes, but I think they'll make sure that we remain competitive in the area and that we don't lose any of the subs that we have. I will say I think Alan did a terrific job recruiting subs, training subs. He sent out a lovely letter at the end of the year thanking them for having served with us and hoping that they would be welcome back. And then this summer there was a welcome back kind of thing, like hoping you're still going to be with us. So really trying to pull them into the fold so that we have these folks come back to us. So I put that out for any questions you may have about the changes to these rates.
Questions?
My only question is are we going to have day-to-day certified teachers? Do we really want them to be the same as just day-to-day non-certified? That's my only question.
We talked about that, and we went back and forth because if somebody is going to be certified and they stay with us longer, they do get a little additional bump beyond that. But I don't know. I would put it out there. If you think that should be more, I just feel I think it's a reasonable increase from the 110. And I think to go any higher is pushing it a little bit for the day-to-day situation, right? That's day-to-day.
Day-to-day, you make it 115, and then day-to-day certified 120. So there is a little bit. So what I'm talking about,
You want to drop the day-to-day?
I don't think we can drop the day-to-day, though.
Well, that day-to-day rate is the one that precipitated the second look because Oxford, Millbury, and Grafton are all going to 120 for day-to-day. So
Through the chair, a lot of them didn't differentiate between the day-to-day and the day-to-day certified.
Yeah.
It was just a day-to-day sub.
maybe we just don't differentiate and we say day-to-day subs get 120.
that makes sense.
And just take out that certified piece because,
And they don't, yeah.
yeah, because
It's not pointed out.
yeah, just don't point it out and just say just get rid of that piece and then.
Good point.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
Smart.
You're on fire today. I try. And do we post these publicly anywhere so people know?
We do. So they've been at the bottom of my newsletters. And so this, as soon as I get this updated, my next newsletter will be updated with these rates.
All right, great. Anything else? Anyone? No? Alrighty. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the updated rates for substitute teachers, IAs, and ABAs for the 2023-2024 school year.
Second.
While removing the day-to-day certified line.
Yes.
Yes.
Amended, yeah.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Pretty busy.
Yeah. The next two items are pretty perfunctory, but as per the bylaws of the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative, the school committee from each town must appoint a representative to serve on the select board of directors. It's my recommendation that I continue in this role as superintendent of schools, as that's who represents most districts.
I'll make a motion to appoint Beth Chamberlain, Superintendent of Schools, as the Auburn Public School representative for the Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative Board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It's all yours.
Thank you. And again, appointment to the Board of AVC, again by the bylaws of the Assabet Valley Collaborative, school committee. The school committee from each member town must appoint a representative to serve on the board. It's my recommendation that I continue in this role as superintendent of schools.
I'll make a motion to appoint Beth Chamberlain, Superintendent of Schools, as the Auburn Public Schools representative on the Assabet Valley Collaborative Board.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next item. So as you know, we have used some of our ESSER funding to completely revise our Wonders programming, K-5, which is a huge purchase. I think all told, probably close to $300,000, which we're very thankful we were able to use grant funding for that. But then what does that mean? We have to get rid of everything we've had. So many of the things were sent home with students from the old program, were sent home with kids over the summer. Some things have been kept as kind of ancillary material, but we do have the items that remain on this list to be discarded. They are not, from what we can find, saleable anywhere. It's not anything we're going to be able to really garner any sort of great financial gain from doing that. So I look to you to for your support to deem these textbooks as surplus, so they may be discarded or donated.
Any questions or comments?
No.
Okay.
And one more thing, I will add, some of these were already, we do have someone that will take them from a small school nearby, so some of those will be donated.
Great.
Love that.
Good. All right. Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve deeming the list of textbooks provided as a surplus so they may be discarded or donated.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So the next item is a new one, and I'm curious to see how you'll feel about it. But there are many school committees that, in preparation, often the formal meetings that we have every other week isn't the greatest time to really have conversation about how we work together and how we address things. So I am proposing a working meeting for the school committee members to create norms for collaboration, the handling, how we as a group agree you'll handle concerns from stakeholders, to review the responsibilities of the school committee and any other particular item that you may want to discuss. It would still be considered an open meeting. It would still be posted because we can't all meet together. Otherwise, it's a quorum unless it's publicly posted. But it would be a different tone, right? It wouldn't be the formal, there would still be an agenda, but it would be more of a conversation than it would be kind of voting on items. And it would be a coming together. I feel like, the two of you were new last year and you're new this year. And there is something to be said for having a team approach to things, not meaning that we all do the same thing, but that we all understand where we're coming from and how we're going to approach things as a working group. Now, this doesn't have to happen. I put it out for your consideration and discussion.
How often would you want this type of working meeting?
I see us having one a year, honestly, and honestly, for maybe a couple of hours. It wouldn't be something that we would need a whole day for or anything like that. But we could consider it one of our early meetings in the school year for a couple hours, even prior to the formal school committee meeting, to kind of, check in, develop some meeting norms and go that route. But it's whatever you think.
And would that be videoed?
No.
No, I don't think, but it would be open to the public. So if someone wanted to come, they would be welcome to do so.
Okay. And I think we'd have minutes kept, right?
We would.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. As we do any other meeting. It's just I see the tone as being a little bit different when we kind of discuss what our norms might be for working together, right?
Yeah, a more casual approach.
A more casual approach.
And I will say, when we go to the conference at the Cape, other school committees talk about this as a very normal thing. I was actually like, wow, that's a great idea. What do you mean you all work together? This is such a great thing. So it's common in other districts, but we obviously need everyone on board so.
I think you mentioned it last year.
Yeah, it was something I wanted to get going. We've never done it before, this
Great
school
idea.
committee. So, I don't know, if everyone's willing to come together for a powwow, we just gotta figure out, I mean,
Love powwows.
yeah. Do we want to do it before a meeting? And if so, is the next meeting okay?
I can do any time, any day, so I will work around everyone else.
And if you guys need, like, to think about it or whatever.
I mean, for the first one, we could even try and see if an hour is enough. We don't have to schedule 2 hours. We could try and meet, and we could always add another one if something needed to be continued.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I mean, should we make a motion to accept this and then figure out when?
Yeah,
Do it?
yeah, sure. We can probably figure that out off
Okay.
camera too.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve deeming the, wrong one. Get May. To arrange. To arrange at a mutually convenient time for all members, a working meeting for the school committee members.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
You're trying to go backwards.
I know, I went backwards. Did everyone vote?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it.
Yeah, it's a go. I'm gonna figure out.
We did, right? I think we need an all those in favor. Yeah.
No, I said aye.
Aye. Everyone said aye. Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. Sorry, I was listening to Brooke.
Listen to me.
What are you thinking? I'll do it again. If you want me to do it again, I don't mind.
Just quickly talking about the meeting on the Cape that you guys go to. I think the three of us are going to like a new one
That's good, yeah.
coming in like September.
That's the orientation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bay
That's
Path.
completely separate. I think
Yeah.
you guys are supposed to do like a certain amount of hours of
So
when you go to
Mandy told me that I had to sign up for one of these before the end of the year, and I said, okay, I'm going to go on this day. And she said, thanks.
Mandy will keep you in mind.
It's very beneficial. I don't know. And then if you go to the Cape, it's just more training, but you get hours for that too. We're supposed to keep track, but I don't know what district actually does. So
And I think we sent out the information about the Cape.
Oh, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So and if you haven't been, I mean, it's so beneficial. I can't
I
even.
love it,
It's
especially the
great.
therapy dog one.
Yeah. There's so much stuff, like, you know, and
He's not a therapy dog.
so. I recommend.
My dog is a therapy dog.
So we will come back to that for the timing.
Yes.
Can you want me to bring him to school committee meeting?
All right, so the next one is just included in your packet. I will tell you, it's a very rough summary. More specific agendas have been given to staff. But this is a general schedule for the 2 opening days for this year. We've designed the days to accommodate time for safety and medical review, time for staff to come together as a building, to begin the development of school improvement teams. We have a lot of mandated training modules teachers will have time for, along with 2 uninterrupted hours for classroom preparation, along with more than that. It's just a little bit more scattered, but they all get 2 uninterrupted hours for that.
Appreciated.
And this year, we're partnering with a company called RxEd, and our mandated training are going to be short videos that you've probably done this kind of training before, where you get like a 2-minute video, then you do a 3-minute video, and you can kind of stop whenever you want. You get a few little questions at the end. Because mandated reporting, some of that information has been updated. That whole idea of sexual harassment in the workplace, we have to be really clear that our staff understands what you can and what you can't do.
Yeah.
And what RxEd will do, it'll then track for us, everyone, like their completion rate and who's completed and who hasn't. We're going to be able to remind people to finish it. And we usually give them till the end of September or roughly to kind of finish it, so it all doesn't have to be done on the first days, but they'll have time to do that then too. I'm actually hoping that in the next day or so, it's going out. Karen had asked, could it be out before school starts? And because we're onboarding with them, we have a lot of prep to do for this year as far as getting, but I think we're almost there, so.
Yeah, definitely. The more time they can do it, if they want to do it in their free time,
Yes.
the better.
Yeah.
So,
And there are definitely some people that will,
yeah.
and other people
But at
that
least
absolutely won't, but.
They have
Yep.
to meet the metrics, and you can
We're
see
the
it.
people that would.
It's expensive.
The one thing that is down at the bottom here is some training that'll happen at the end of the year is called Enough. We had done this a couple years ago. It's related to preventing child sexual abuse and educator sexual misconduct. So that's another training that'll happen later on this school year for all of our staff. So just some information.
All right.
The next item in your packet is the welcome brochure and the strategic plan summary. So Dr. Brunel, over 6 years ago, had kind of put together a brochure, and at this point, it was completely out of date. So we did take some time to redo this. I got some feedback from the leadership team about what was included in here, trying to give anyone who might be new to us a little glimpse at who we are as an Auburn school community. And I think I'll probably look at it one more time. I accept any of your feedback on it if there's anything you think is woefully missing or should be included related to that, because we are going to get our work together. I have some folks already working on pulling some, like a welcome packet together. So this would become part of the welcome packet with some, community resources, contact information, in the area for anything they might need, Auburn Youth and Family information, those kind of things. I know our nurses have information about, where you can get health care if you need it, that kind of stuff. So we're in the process of getting it together, so this was just one piece of that. So I don't know if anyone has any feedback on the brochure.
I love that you put the commitment twice. You put it like the vision and then the commitment's right under and then it's again. Like we'll create, I like that.
Yeah, so this separate sheet, this one-page sheet, this is what's going to get posted in our schools around the strategic plan. So this is really the big summary documents, summary document for our strategic plan and the big items in there. Yeah, so this is part of the welcome. This is a separate thing around strategic plan. And this is to help us all remember what are we doing and why are we doing it, right? And this will be something that I'll address in my communication with all of the staff on Tuesday. Tuesday morning, we meet all together for breakfast and quick meeting and talk, introduce our teachers that are getting professional teacher status, and then head back to buildings for our work. So, but some of this will be shared then too. So we're trying to make sure, I don't want our strategic plan to ever be a document that nobody knows, has any idea what's in it, right? Now, there'll be some that might only know a piece of it, but I want them to at least know some of it, right? We all have to kind of be on the same page, so.
I mean, I guess we could add it to our welcome packet.
It is kind of in there.
Actually, we could.
It's good information.
It is in there. I mean,
Yeah.
the vision is in there, but it is good information and I like it. It's quick and easy to read.
Yeah, and that's what we wanted. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes under each of those bullets, right? But these are the big buckets.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's our focus, really.
yeah.
Great. All right. Stuff.
Oh, and the very sad news to share next about our friend Cecilia.
The answer is no.
Cecilia's been the business manager for over 10 years. She will be retiring in June of 2024.
That flew.
In her time, she has shown herself to be thoughtful, hardworking, dedicated, and diligent. We appreciate everything she's done for the district, and she'll continue to do. And I have to say, on a personal note, Cecilia has been my savior, as I often call myself an accidental superintendent. She has been a sounding board. She has been a great resource for information. She is always willing to step up and provide help in whatever area somebody might need help. Some of the questions she gets have absolutely nothing to do with being a business manager, yet she works to try and help people through that too. So we appreciate what she's done for us. We know it's going to be a good year, and we thank her for everything she's done for the APS.
I thank all of you. It's been a pleasure serving the community and working with all of you, and it's great. So I thank you very much.
We were very lucky to have you.
It's a hard decision to make, but it's time for me to move along and
Yeah, but we're locking
spend
you
some
in.
time with my
I already bought the locks. I told him it was excessive.
We will feed you, we promise. But you're not leaving.
You've been amazing, Cecilia.
Yeah.
You really have.
very much.
But very much a team player, so I mean, it's great. I don't know what we would do without you, but we will certainly find out.
You deserve the go and
Yeah, you
do your
do.
There's
time
some
and
time
make your
everyone has
memories.
been in retirement, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you get through those audits. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just,
I think they want you to come back as an LLC.
yeah, so.
Thank
All
you.
right. Let's move on from that.
Yeah. Like, so tonight I am doing the teaching learning report. Mr. Keller is finishing up his final day of vacation. Summer affords us a great opportunity to do things that we can't get done during the school year. And we had over 40 individuals and groups of educators working on a variety of projects, inclusive practices, UDL, social emotional learning. As Mr. Desto said, we had some of our school improvement teams already meeting around school climate and culture and making sure that we're welcoming our kids and they feel safe. Special education resources for new teachers, selecting titles for certain books, primary and secondary sources to world history curriculum. I won't read them all, but we appreciate all the efforts of the staff who have done that throughout the summer, because it really is what gives us a leg up to start the new school year, when we have the time to kind of think through our professional work. So it was really great for everyone who did that. So we appreciate that.
Thank you for your hard work.
Just a side note, yeah, totally. Like, parents don't understand all the work that these teachers still do on their summer break, and a lot of it's voluntary, and they really never stop working. So, yeah, kudos to everyone. Thank you for your hard work, and
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate it.
yes, yep. And that's my soapbox. So. Move on to business and financial.
Okay. So in your packet, I've given you a year-to-date budget report dated August 11th for your review. I normally have the budget transfers, but I'm going to wait since it's the beginning of the school year and we're still getting everybody up, into the system and ready for the new when school starts with salaries. So I will wait to pass that along for you for the next meeting. But I've included in your packet omnibus transfer number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that for your information, that as of last May, we said we would close out for fiscal year 2023. And then I will bring forth the new budget transfers for FY24 at the next meeting. So those are basically for your information. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. It's quite a few of them, but we ended up ending the year at a zero balance, and we were in great position, so we're happy about that. The next information I have is the FY23 closeout documents. These are 3 separate memos that I provided to our town accountant CFO Karen Harnois regarding the closing out of FY23 budget and various town meeting approved articles needing to be carried over for use in the new fiscal year. This year we only basically carried over, I think it was like 60, I'm going to put right in front of me, I'm sorry. 61,739.94, which is not a lot of money. It's basically that was carried forward. Those are the encumbrances that we have for items that were ordered, that might be back ordered, that were waiting to come in, or that were recently ordered that we were waiting to pay. So that money will be set aside and we will use that up in the coming months, and that will go away, but we need to make sure we carry it forward. The articles were basically carried forward to be used in the next fiscal year, and unless we request that, they turn over back to the town for the town general fund. So those are all set. Any questions on that? Or no? Okay. All right. The next item I have is I have some good news for FY25. We actually, with the French River, we went out to bid for fiscal year 25 for the oil. So we participated, and there were 2 companies, namely Peterson Oil and Dennis K. Burke, responding to the bid. It was opened on June 5th of 2023, and after discussion amongst the group members present, it was unanimously decided to move forward as a group with the ULSHO as opposed to the ULSHO 10 oil. And that's the difference between the two, is the biofuel that they allow so much to be. We're saying that this we don't want the biofuel because it tends to, with dealing with Mr. Fahey, our facilities director, the more biofuel they have, the more trouble you can have with some of your boilers and some of the mechanisms that work. So we went with most of the group agreed to go with the ULSHO, which is, with the biofuel. And so it was awarded to Dennis K. Burke, who was the lowest and most responsive bidder, for a price of $2.6490. So it's $2.6490 per gallon. Each district needs to accept the bid and sign a contract, and prior to doing that, I wanted to make sure that it was agreeable with you to accept the contract for FY25, and once you approve that, I will gladly sign that and send that on to them. So if I can get in, and I put in your packet the actual, the bid itself and all the communities as well that participate in the oil bid. You can see there's quite very many. So we benefit because of the huge amount, because we are, as a district, trying to go away from using oil. As you know, we've recently worked on transitioning Swanson Road from oil to propane. The middle school's propane, and we use natural gas at Packagug as well as the high school. So we're trying to get away from, the only place we're using the oil right now is Bryn Mawr School and central office here. So we're trying to transition away from it. So we benefit because a lot of these other districts are huge facilities, so we get a better deal. So.
Great. Okay, any questions or comments? I think it looks good.
Okay.
You need a motion? for
Yes,
that?
please.
I'll make a motion to accept the FY25 French River Collaborative Oil bid and award the contract to Dennis K. Burke for heating oil for Bryn Mawr School in the Central Administration Building at a rate of 2.6490 cents per gallon for the 2024-2025 school year.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you for doing that, Cecilia.
Problem. And the FY24, I've included in your packet a revolving gift and student activities account update, which lists our various revolving accounts, some of our gift accounts, and also lists the student activities account. As is customary each year, I ask that you review it and that you just approve it for, you accept it and approve for the FY24 school year as is required.
Get a motion?
Make a motion to approve the FY24 fiscal year, the list of revolving gifts and student activity accounts as presented by the business manager.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And then lastly, the school department warrant articles for the fall special town meeting. The town has opened up the warrant process for the warrant articles for the fall town meeting, which is scheduled for October 24th at 6 p.m. at Auburn High School. And I'll be putting together, with the help of Mr. Fahey, our facilities director, and Dr. Chamberlain, what warrant articles for the next meeting, and they'll require your approval. So I just wanted to let you know that will be coming. So we'll be on target because it's due to the town for September 8th. Our meeting is September 6th. So we'll be able to vote and then move it on to the town.
Great.
Awesome.
Sounds like my ambition.
Thank you very much.
All right. Do we need executive session?
We do
No,
not.
We do not. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
We'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching.